My project is called Going Global, and this year is my second year teaching Spanish at Allen Central, and I was really trying to focus on global competency and what does it mean to be a global citizen. So my research question with this grant was, how does face-to-face interaction with people living in other countries influence students' global competency skills? I think a lot of us can agree that living in a rural community, we have limited interactions with people who've spent extensive time abroad, or people who are born and raised in other countries. And so I was really trying to bring that into my classroom this year. This is kind of an outline of KDE's what is global competency. And as y'all can see, investigate the world, recognize perspectives, communicate ideas, and take action are all very much involved in working towards global competency skills. And so I really was thinking, okay, well, how can I hit all these four things with this grant? And I decided that I wanted to partner with Reach the World, which is a nonprofit based in New York. And we were actually their first classroom in Kentucky to have a partnership with. Basically, the organization aims to bring travelers who are living in another country into U.S. classrooms via Skype and their online platform, which I'll show you guys in a second. So each of my 6 classes was matched with 3 different travelers this year, which means that we had 18 different mentors living abroad over the course of the past 6 months. Each month, my classes Skyped with their travel partner and checked in on their blogs, and the blog posts were written specifically for my classes. And then students at the end of this actually wrote their own blog posts and created their own video content using Kindle Fires, which we purchased with our grant money, to share their experiences on the holler. They are going to be uploaded to the Grita Fuerte Spanish holler, but everyone has access to it. So this is a snapshot of what the Reach the World page looks like. It's open to the public, so are there any global competency teachers out there? World language, Emmanuel, I see you. Anyone who's interested can go to reachtheworld.org, and they have access to hundreds and hundreds of travelers and their journeys. This is Alma's. Alma is currently in Chile, and so this blog post was written specifically for my kids, but the whole public has access to it. There's different aspects of it, so starting from the top, there's albums, photo albums. The kids really like that, to really see what is Chile, what does Santiago look like, what is her day-to-day. The journals are a little bit more detailed. It's like as if you were writing a journal yourself. Field notes, that's where she gets into transportation and the weather and what are kind of smaller aspects of her day-to-day life. Logbooks, whenever she takes a trip outside of her usual area, she will post a post in the logbooks. And then here, GeoGames is a really cool mapping game that has really increased my kids' global literacy skills. So I'll show you all evidence of that in a second. But just how they see the world and how we're positioned in it has really, really increased this year. So student results. All of my kids have showed marked growth in global literacy skills as measured by the Reach the World survey, which I administered at the beginning of this year and around Christmas time. And I will administer it one more time at the end of our current cycle with our travelers. Students often reflect on their experiences. Every Skype call, they fill out a graphic organizer kind of to organize what's processing in their heads while we're interacting. Because it's kind of hard to facilitate a Skype call where there's one speaker and I've got 30 kids. So to keep all 30 of those kids engaged, we use graphic organizers. Their blog posts are on the holler, and as well as their class videos. Here's a student video clip. Hopefully it plays. Sorry.
Our first one we talked about was food. Guinea pigs, you all may know them as little nervous pets that live in a cage. The guinea pigs in Ecuador is a traditional food that they eat. The geography in Ecuador is quite unique in the case that it has a volcano called the Cotopaxi. It's one of South America's most famous volcanoes, and it's also one of the most active volcanoes. It is located in Ecuador, middle of the places, and is currently safe. Some travelers info. Addison teaches English in Ecuador, and she lives by herself, but she spends most of her time learning about the culture there. She enjoys it very much. Some of the traditional customs are one of the big traditions that Addison herself got to encounter was the festival called La Mama Negra. There's only one La Mama Negra festival in September. It is primarily for the Black Cunguinos. The customs people where Addison is visiting is extremely nice and are open to American culture. Here's a simple conversation me and Emily will have in Spanish. Hola. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Estoy bien. ¿Y tú? Estoy bien. ¿Cómo te llamas? Me llamo ¿qué? ¿Cómo te llamas? Me llamo Emily. ¿Cuántos años tienes? Tengo 15 años. ¿Cuántos años tienes? Tengo 14 años. Adios. Adios.
Okay, hopefully y'all could hear some of that, but they were basically explaining what they've learned from Skyping with Addison, who was living in Ecuador. Their minds were blown that in Ecuador, guinea pigs are eaten fairly regularly. And they wanted to show off their Spanish skills, so they had a little conversation. Here is an example of the survey I have been using. So Reach the World gives this survey out to all teachers who are using it. And the reason it's paper is because of this aspect here. So the front of the survey, it just asks the kids to draw a freehand map of the world. How do you see the world? And at the beginning of the year, most of my Spanish 1 students, their maps were pretty general. This is a mid-year checkpoint. So as you can see, like, it's pretty detailed. We've got continents. We've got some countries labeled. I don't see any cities on this one. But the idea is that at the end of the year, this is even more detailed with potentially oceans labeled, even more accuracy with the shape and their labeling. And that demonstrates marked increase in global literacy. These questions here, they target different things, but one thing that I really like is that they ask the kids their knowledge of studying abroad in college and scholarships. So it's bringing in college readiness to global competency. Here's a blog post excerpt from one of my kids. I'll let y'all just read it. I won't read it to you. But so this is a Spanish 1 student who had not had Spanish beforehand. And what I like her concluding is that reading her blog post gives me so much inspiration to travel the world and see new places. Here's an example of the graphic organizer that we use for Skype calls. So I have the kids fill out what do they already know. So what have we read about our traveler? What did they learn from our call? What are they wondering? And what do they want to remember? And then we use the Post-its. Some of our students are a little bit hesitant to speak out in front of the class and ask a stranger a question. And so we have a panel in the front of the classroom, and they pass their Post-its up. And that's how their questions are asked if they are not comfortable asking face-to-face. In conclusion, our students have talked to people in 13 different countries, and I hope to continue this partnership next year. Reach the World has offered discounted pricing, so hopefully we can figure out a way to make it work. But if anyone's interested in using this program, please talk to me afterwards. Looks like we're out of time for questions, but thank you.